All right, how's it going, Billy?
Good. How are you, Steve?
Good, man. Where are you at right now?
Sitting at the house in Park City, taking my first day off of the week, and Liam's at daycare. Katie's out the door, so I'm gonna try to get some chores done.
I like it. All right, we'll hop right into it. We've got two questions from Twitter. The first one comes from Sarah Look, and Sarah wants to know what was the most challenging time in your career, and what or who helped you persevere through it.
That would have to be after the Salt Lake Olympics, getting fourth place and kind of a narrow miss on a medal, being really disappointed uh, to the point where I was, kind of defining myself by my results and really lost a lot of sleep after those games. And finally, the next summer, skiing really well, and I got injured and had to take a year off. I had a skull fracture to the point where I had to take the next year off, and it was really a family from Steamboat that offered me kind of an opportunity to stay with them and learn how to do carpentry and work for the father, who was a spec builder at the time, and kind of got me outside of skiing for the first time in a few years, and spending some time just being a real person, and then getting some perspective and able to kind of come back into the sport, with a lot more kind of fresh perspective and interest outside of skiing, and then able to become a little bit more of a blended person. That really helped me going forward, because when I went back into sport, I had all these other interests and things that I like to do, and when it came to skiing, I realized that the sun was going to rise even if the results didn't happen, and that really took a lot of pressure off. And so, despite obviously the wanting to win and wanting to do well, I wasn't afraid to fail anymore, and I think going forward that really helped me achieve the goals that I wanted to achieve.
It's awesome. It's not an easy thing to learn when you're a young athlete. Everything is just so like this around what you're doing. So,
Yeah.
all right, great. And the second question comes from Jeff Payne, who's a 2006 Olympic silver medalist in skeleton, and your wife's old sport.
Yeah.
Jeff actually wants to know uh, how does direct athlete funding, so cash in pocket, impact performance versus funding of the NSF, National Sport Federation, and sport expenses, things like that. Just want to know your thoughts on that.
Well, I think the Olympic brand and how it trickles down into NGBs and individual athletes it's an evolving process, and I think the American public is becoming more and more aware of the fact that we're not like every other country. We're one of the few, actually, that does not receive any government funding. There's no massive taxpayer payout to Olympic movement. In fact, there's none. So it really relies heavily on corporations and individual giving. And I think sport by sport, it's handled a little bit differently. But I think as a whole, the USOC and the NGBs are doing a better job of trying to take a realistic view of how they're going to be capable of funding not only the top level of athletes but also development.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're seeing is, trying to grow those funds, direct athlete support, as well as training and travel funds. But also what we're seeing on the side is private foundations set up by former athletes, active athletes, coaches, and parents to fill in the gaps. And I think, especially for a B team or a C team or a not even national team level athlete, those funds are going to be critical to their success in funding their growth and development and experience, which are costly in equipment, travel, and training. And so, for one, on my side, I'm on the board of the National Nordic Foundation, which last year raised almost $500,000 in direct athlete funding for offsetting travel costs to mostly European events. And that's picked up a huge relief of parent and athlete expenses. And I think those organizations are going to be the key to pipeline funding for development in the future.
Good answer. All right. Well, I mean, that was Jeff. Thanks, Jeff and Sarah, for those questions. And
Yeah.
Billy, enjoy. It looks like I see like a little bit of sun poking through on the back wall there. It looks
Oh,
like
it's glorious.
a nice day in Park City.
Yeah.
So we will let you go. Thanks so much for hopping on teamusa.org, and I'll see you soon, bud.
All right. Thanks, Steve.
Bye.